And we're live. Welcome back to another episode on the Coffee with Craner show. And today I have a very special guest, Dr. Robert Gordon, the President and Vice-Chancellor at the University of Windsor. He's also the former Provost and Vice President Academic at Wilfrid Laurier University. He was the former Dean of the Ontario Agricultural College at the University of Guelph, where he led the largest agricultural and food faculty in all of Canada. Aside from that, he's published more than 160 journal articles, supervised over 50 graduate students and 8 postdoctoral fellows during his career. So incredible resume and a superstar leader at the University of Windsor. Dr. Gordon, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks so much, Lyndon. It's great to be here.
So my favorite question of the show is relating to coffee. Where near the University of Windsor is your favorite place to grab a nice cup of joe?
Well, you know what? I'm partial to the Green Bean Cafe. I certainly had the chance to visit there quite a bit when I first started at the University of Windsor. Unfortunately, have not had a chance to drop by since the pandemic. So I've relied on my Keurig coffee maker, but certainly look forward to the days at which there's going to be plenty of opportunities to visit many of the local cafes here in Windsor.
Yes, I think we're all anticipating that once the stay-at-home order is over and the economy's back and ready to go. So many students or those that are watching, they're probably interested in learning more about what your role is. They hear President and Vice Chancellor, but what does that entail? What are some of the things that you work on in your role?
Well, Lyndon, I'm asked that question a lot, and it's really a bit of a balancing act. And I think it's really always important to recognize that you're learning new things all the time. Much of the work as a university president involves really building consensus across the university as best as possible and working across a wide range of perspectives of how academic institutions should function. I really do find that it's extremely important in my role to be open to new ideas, to really listen to others who may not necessarily agree with various approaches that we're taking, and do our best to try to move forward in a direction that I think makes sense for the institution. I think as president too, you need to think of short-term issues given our financial responsibilities to everyone, especially when we're dealing with the pandemic. But also you need to be focusing longer term in relation to where the university is moving to in terms of our teaching, our academic programs, our research efforts, our service activities, and our overall reach, and certainly importantly the student experience. So the role requires supporting the academic side of the institution, including all the faculties and service units up to and through the University Senate, but also supporting our Board of Governors in terms of our budget planning, capital and campus master planning, as well as dealing with major risk issues as well. I do have a great team, a senior leadership team here at the university, which includes a number of VPs and associate vice presidents, deans, and a number of executive directors and directors across the institution that are all focused on kind of being aligned around institutional planning. So, and also importantly too, which really is very exciting, is the role also requires that you work closely with student groups, including the UWSA, GSS, and Opus here at the University of Windsor. And so really it's all about supporting the student experience, but also supporting our staff and faculty, engaging with our alumni and certainly our partners, and really helping to move the university forward in as positive way as you can.
Well, it seems like a very large role, and it's almost, I guess it's a community, right? There's so many different moving parts that you're seeing. Is there a distinction, I guess, between president and vice chancellor? Are they doing two different things for those that may be interested?
Yeah, well, as you know, we have an exceptional chancellor in Dr. Mary Jo Haddad, and in many ways, the chancellor is the highest ranking position within the institution. She's the individual that at convocation grants all of the degrees to all of our students. So the vice chancellor role is when the chancellor is not available to attend those convocation events that I would take over. But certainly, the role of president is one that has many facets, Lyndon, associated with it, and certainly it's one that I'm enjoying here at the University of Windsor. But at the same time, too, as we said, it's complex and it requires you to be able to look at a wide range of different perspectives to really help the institution move forward.
Definitely. Well, I mean, you're almost at 2 years in your role as president. 2 years ago, September 2019-ish, you were new to the Windsor community. When you started at UWindsor, at that time, and maybe even now, what were some of your priorities and goals that you had coming into a brand new community and a brand new institution?
Yeah, great question. Certainly, during the majority of the past decade or 12 years here at the university, we in many ways focused on major infrastructure renewal. I think we've got a beautiful campus both here on the west end of Windsor, but also our downtown campus. And so certainly, my desire when I came on board in the fall of 2019 was to really think beyond this towards really building around our people. So enhancing our commitment to academic excellence, improving our community engagement efforts in ways that we've never really done before, building up ways of further expanding our research as an institution across all of our faculties. Really also importantly too, Lyndon, is continuing to enhance the quality of the student learning experience here at the university. Improving, certainly, we've been doing a lot over the past year in terms of improving our commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion as an institution. And also, for me, really important is bringing people together to really thrive within the university, and in many ways being the kind of the regional employer of choice. Early on in my tenure, we focused a lot on a thing called the Strategic Mandate Agreement, the third iteration of this. We submitted that to the province a little over a year ago, but then that's been put on pause because of the pandemic. And the SMA, or the Strategic Mandate Agreement, is really our contract with the provincial government. And so a lot of our focus was also on kind of building up to be successful with that process. But I'm really happy too that we're also starting to kick off a new initiative, and that's the development of a new strategic plan later on this fall, with the expectation that we'll have a plan completed in the latter part of 2022. We've been the better part of a decade since we last did a strategic plan for the university, so I think many of the things that I talked about in priorities already will be kind of intrinsically part of that strategic plan moving forward. All that being said, I'm also really excited about some of the major capital initiatives that we have been doing at the university prior to the pandemic and then since the pandemic as well. Certainly a $35 million upgrade to our law school, the Transforming Windsor Law project, with the plan for that to be completed by the fall of 2023, and also an incredible $73 million initiative for the establishment of the Lancer Center, the renovations and the expansion of the athletic facilities here at the University of Windsor, with a significant proportion of that capital support being provided by our students, for which we're extremely grateful. And that capital initiative will be completed next summer. So we're really looking forward to that as well too. So a lot of positive things to look at as we get through this pandemic.
So it's been from what I'm hearing, a busy 2 years for you in this role, and then COVID happening right, I don't know, a few months after you started. Have you had time to actually sit back, reflect, and maybe some things that you learned or that caught your attention, eye-opening experiences in this new role for you?
Yeah, Lynn, that's a great point. And certainly, I think the key thing that, and again, we've all realized that the pandemic has changed all of our lives in significant ways. And so, we've had to adjust to a different reality over the past 14 months. Certainly the thing that I've realized is that we've got a fantastic university community here. We've got some issues that we need to work on to get better, but I think that, certainly we have the potential to continue to grow as a regionally significant university, but also a globally relevant university as well too. And so really proud of that, the role that we play in terms of supporting the regional economy here in Windsor, Essex, but also the global reach that we have as an institution. And so I think those are two key attributes that we want to build on as we move forward as a university. And certainly I'm expecting that our strategic plan will focus on a lot of that, and also how we connect with the city of Windsor, but also with all the municipalities here in Essex County, to really help kind of make sure that we are doing everything we can to support the talent needs, but also the research and service needs of our broader community.
So I mean, when you came to, well, you've been in the role for almost 2 years, and I'd imagine you've seen what a great community University of Windsor is. When you came to Windsor, what was that like? I guess coming to Windsor, coming to University of Windsor, or just the Windsor community in general. What are some things that you noticed, caught your attention, maybe even wanted to bring you here?
Yeah. This is a really unique part of Ontario, and certainly, I had spent quite a bit of time in my career a little bit further east in Ontario, and certainly was always impressed with respect to the region and the innovative things that were happening here in Windsor, Essex. I do think that we have the potential to even go that next step as a strong institution, partnering certainly with St. Clair College as well too, to really continue to support kind of the needs to really I think further enhance the economic revitalization of our region. Really impressed with the Windsor Works economic revitalization strategy that the city recently announced. We want to play a big role in helping to support that. And so for us, it's being a strong community partner, being accountable in a lot of things that we do at the university as well. And so making sure that we build a lot of our relationships through meaningful and lasting partnerships. So they're not just one-offs, Lyndon, that they're things that we can build on and retain institutional memory around and really continue to support kind of the priorities for our region moving forward.
Definitely with the Windsor Works strategy coming forward, there's a lot that can intertwine with the University of Windsor and the city. Another question I have is just relating to your background, working at Wilfrid Laurier, University of Guelph. You have a bachelor's and master's degree in engineering, a lot of different experiences at educational institutions in your belt. Have those experiences helped you in your role? Has it shaped you for the role as president?
Yeah, I do really think that having exposure to different approaches by different institutions does help in many ways. I've had the chance to work with some fantastic people, and I've learned from those individuals as well at those institutions, students, staff, faculty that I've interacted with. And so, I think good leadership is really being able to identify things that work and try to translate them into a new environment that you're operating into. And again, I recognize that there's a lot of unique features that exist here at our university, but at the same time, to really build on commitments for doing things differently in the future. We started to make some significant changes over the past year and a half since I've been here, and certainly we're going to continue to make some changes. But it's all towards a longer term commitment for us to be excellence focused in our academic programs, in the research that we do to make sure it's impactful and meaningful to people that benefit from it, but also really strongly to be focused on impactful service to our community and beyond as well too. And I'm really excited about that. We've certainly got a commitment by many of our colleagues across the institution to continue to build on that commitment to really give back in meaningful ways. And certainly I think the pandemic has helped to really highlight the importance of empathy in what we do and that kind of enthusiasm for making our part of the world much better.
So I guess with regards to your specific leadership approach and coming from different institutions, and you've really shaped the type of leader that you are from those experiences, what is your leadership approach at the University of Windsor? Maybe what would your colleagues think of your leadership style?
Yeah, well, Lyndon, certainly I think from my perspective, a great deal of leadership really isn't necessarily telling people what to do. It's really in many ways from my perspective, it's walking the path with people, adjusting your direction as necessary, and learning from one another as well. So that's something that certainly I've attempted to do throughout my academic career, and even before that when I was in government. At universities, we all have to fully recognize the significant importance of academic governance and collegiality. We are unlike any other organization in terms of how we need to respect that process dearly. And, I spoke earlier about the University Senate. It plays a huge role in terms of helping to drive where we are heading as an institution. My personal approach has been certainly to be optimistic, while also understanding the importance of compassion and empathy, as I've said already, being as consultative as possible, operating with a framework around strong accountability in everything that we do, focusing on as well on impactful, partnerships through external engagement. So really being able to provide ways at which our students can benefit from those external opportunities. I also think, establishing a strong framework to create positive and measurable change. And I think the key thing with that is being able to measure the impact of your actions as well. And for me too, Lyndon, it's been to try to empower people and working with and developing the leadership from across the organization. And that's a key thing. And so we are looking at implementing a number of ways of which we're able to support succession planning more effectively as an institution. And then finally, I think really being strategic in terms of our focus. We need to really have a strong plan on where we want to go. And so the reason why, I've already mentioned the commitment around strategic planning and having that drive a lot of our future decisions is going to be key for us. But at the same time too, things will happen like a global pandemic, and we will have to adjust appropriately. But I think that certainly moving the university forward in the coming years with a real commitment to some of these areas of excellence in our teaching, research, and services, certainly our commitment, and certainly making sure that we build a campus community that is focused on equity and being very inclusive.
Definitely. And you mentioned the pandemic. How has that shaped you? What has your experience been like in such a large leadership role and over 10, 15,000 students at the University of Windsor, and managing that during COVID-19? What's it been like?
Yeah, I think the key thing, and I still reflect this all the time, the ability that we took to be able to move to primarily online a year ago, March, was incredible. Again, the world changed dramatically in those few weeks. And certainly, we did our best to protect the safety of our entire community, and certainly that required that immediate change. I think since then, we are now starting to look and see what can we do differently moving forward, and what are some of the key lessons that the pandemic has taught us. There's certain, and Lyndon, our conversation tonight is one good example of how we've, been able to really improve the technology for how we can support teaching, how we can support research, and our ability to connect with colleagues around the world. And so we want to continue to build on that. We are certainly really excited about a post-pandemic planning initiative that we're doing with the City of Windsor, a think tank series, where we're going to be exploring a wide range of these, these emerging issues that I think are in front of us. And our commitment is to try to really take some of those lessons learned over the past, over the past 14 months, and I hope it's not going to be too much longer, but to really have it so that we can benefit from that. And I think that, there's a number of things that we're already doing at the institution that we're going to continue to do as we get through this, and certainly make the institution stronger because of it.
Yes, I mean, there's many challenges that you've faced in your leadership role in a short period of time, and it seems like it's all probably happening at once. But if you could say, what would be the best part of your job, the best part of being president at the University of Windsor?
Well, for me, it's, being able to, and that day will come soon, to be able to walk around campus and see our students, staff, and faculty. I've certainly truly missed that over the past 14 months. And as I've said, although we have been dealing with this pandemic, so many people at our institution have remained engaged with their work in supporting our teaching, research, and service, but also in important things around knowledge creation and helping out our community as they get through this pandemic as well. So it's really been an honor to be part of this community, to be able to work with so many amazing people who are building and rebuilding our region and our university through the challenges we're all facing. And so, there's a number of things that I can point to as well too that have really been things that I will remember the rest of my career that we've been able to do. Certainly, faculty, staff, and students working on a wide range of issues in terms of supporting regional vaccination efforts. Providing services in hospitals and schools, supporting COVID testing. some of the innovative research that we're doing around COVID as well, providing supports for parents and teachers as they moved online for educational purposes. Some of the researchers too that have been coming to campus every single day since the pandemic started, especially those in the faculties of science and engineering that have maintained strong programs with student engagement has been really key as well. And also, the one thing that I will always be amazed about is our essential and critical workers at the University of Windsor who have continued to come and support our campus every single day, 24/7. They've done an amazing job of having the campus ready for when more and more people do come back in the coming weeks and months ahead.
Well, that must make you proud, just seeing them on campus and how hard they're working.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're doing a fantastic job.
So I had a comment come in, basically just thanking you for your leadership. It's from Alui Mohammadi, basically saying that he's a young student and really appreciates your advice. And I don't know if you have any advice for just young leaders at the University of Windsor. Do you have any advice you could provide to them as they're traveling throughout their University of Windsor leadership journey?
Yeah, Lyndon, that's a really good question. I think, certainly as I pointed out already, I think a key attribute of leadership is being empathetic, supporting people as best as you can. And again, I know that it's a really difficult time and we're all facing significant challenges. But at the same time, too, I think being optimistic, I think trying to really wake up every morning and seeing what you can do to really make this world a better place and our institution a better place, our community a better place are things that I think are always important for us to reflect on. I know, again, as I've said, it's been a really challenging time for all of us and our families. We will get through this. We will be better because of it. And I think for people to remember that and to be able to bring that wisdom of what we've had to deal with over the past 14 or 15 months to the rest of our lives. And, I do struggle sometimes too with some of our students that are graduating this spring. Unfortunately, the last, year and a bit of their university education was had to be, delivered in a different way. But at the same time too, there's strength that will come through that. And certainly, I admire all of those individuals that have been able to, deal with this challenge and have maintained a very positive attitude about the present, but also the future as well.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that advice with young leaders. I know there's many that are watching the show and really appreciate that. And Dr. Gordon, I definitely appreciate that you took the time to join me on the show. I think we had a fantastic conversation. We touched on your pre-University of Windsor roles and the many things that you're working on at the University of Windsor and where the institution is actually headed in the future. So we covered a lot of ground tonight, and I really appreciate your time, Dr. Gordon.
Okay, thanks so much, Lynn, and all the best.
Thanks, everyone.